What is the best way to optimize one's lifting technique? It is sort of commonly accepted knowledge in many weight training circles that light weights are how one hones and improves this aspect. We use an easy and light weight to ensure that there are no deviations or compensations from what has been decided to be quote-unquote optimal. And while the fact is that these designations are oftentimes arbitrary, it's also true that for every permutation of human anthropometry, each coming with its own unique history and unique set of relative muscular strengths and weaknesses, there will be an optimal or most efficient lifting technique that finds an ideal middle ground between mechanical efficiency, i.e. yielding to one's own leverages and relative strengths, and commonly accepted safety techniques. For example, keeping a relatively neutral spine. Once that technique has been established to a somewhat concrete degree, then progressive loading can begin in earnest. Volumes and intensities can be pushed higher and harder and heavier because it's reasonably assumed that the pattern that has been put in place will be the pattern that remains in place. A funny thing happens with lifting technique though. It never really stays the same. In fact, it continually evolves over time as the individual progresses in training age. That can be due to a shifting of relative strengths and weaknesses. It can be due to changes in body weight. It can be due to a shifting in muscular development, etc., etc.
Hey guys, if you made it this far, if you could do me a favor and smash that like button and leave me a friendly comment down below before you go, I would really appreciate it. The engagement is really helpful for my channel, so the more engagement that we can get, the more free, informative content, just like this video, that I can pump out for you guys. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the rest of the video.
There are many variables that can cause the technique to desire or require to change, and those factors are omnipresent throughout the training career, which means that lifting technique continuously evolves over the course of the training career, which means it must continuously be honed, which means the process of optimizing it is never truly finished. If one stops paying attention to it, it may very well regress, no matter how concrete the established motor pattern seemed like it had been before. Now we return to the question posed at the very beginning of the video. What is the best way to hone and optimize one's lifting technique? For ranked beginners, this concept of light weights with zero deviations is almost certainly the way to go. This is in part because these trainees have no history of an established motor pattern to draw from and lean on. They need to play the game on easy mode in order to establish a baseline, and then they can move to playing on hard mode from there. Further, people whose bodies are unaccustomed to the stimulus of weight training will respond very well to incredibly light weights anyway, numbers that would represent very low percentages of whatever their current 1 rep max on any given exercise may be. So it would be illogical to push past this point anyway. One should train with the lowest stimulus that allows them to maximize their rate of progress. For beginners, this stimulus is very low. For advanced trainees, on the other hand, it is often very high. So we can say quite confidently that the newer the trainee, the lighter the weight that can be used to build strength and hone/optimize their lifting technique. But does this same concept also apply to intermediate and advanced trainees? People with a couple years or more under the bar who have built a moderate to large base of strength and muscle. Remember, technique must continually be honed. The set it and forget it concept really does not apply here. And while the general consensus seems to suggest that the answer to this question is a resounding yes, in my experience, it is actually quite the opposite. Once a certain degree of stimulus has been adapted to, regressing that stimulus way down and expecting that to then somehow translate up when you once again dial the intensity way the hell up is optimistic at best and simply unrealistic at worst. There are two primary reasons for this: the nervous system and differences in bar speed. Starting with the nervous system, it has been known for quite some time now that the nervous system simply treats heavy weights and light weights very differently. I first read about this phenomenon many years ago. I can't fully recall the specifics, but I believe it was Soviet research that had been done on Olympic weightlifters and the Olympic lifts specifically. What they found was that lifts done at 80% or higher of the 1 rep max were simply treated as a different event altogether by the body as compared to lifts done at 80% or less of the 1 rep max. Therefore, one could not expect to perform a bunch of quote-unquote technique work at less than 80% of the 1RM and expect that to somehow translate up into a bigger 1 rep max on the platform. Part of this obviously has to do with the uniqueness of the Olympic lifts, them being a strength-speed movement by nature, and that aspect coupled with the way that the lifter barbell system behaves during these particular lifts. That is, as the bar weight increases, the barbell accounts for a greater and greater percentage of the total system weight. The total system weight being the combined weight of the lifter and the barbell taken together as a whole. With this ever-shifting ratio, altering the dynamics and leverages and mechanics of the movements very substantially. And if the lifter has not acclimated their nervous system to the unique changes that occur as the bar weight gets heavier and heavier and accounts for more and more of the total system weight, then it doesn't really matter how strong that they are. They will simply be incapable of demonstrating this strength adequately because they will not be able to meet the technical demands of the movement at an appropriate level, which means their true strength will never really shine through. These concepts are certainly more important for the Olympic lifts, as they require much greater precision, but they still hold true for pretty much any other compound barbell movement in existence as well, to varying degrees. The relativity of the total system weight is constantly in flux, no matter what lift you're doing. As you add weight to the bar, you become a smaller and smaller percentage of this system, and the bar becomes a greater and greater percentage of it. And this has a gradually more and more intense impact on how the system behaves. The nervous system needs to be exposed to this particular stimulus frequently, otherwise it will crash and burn under that stimulus, under that stress and strain. Your technique, which has otherwise been built on a house of cards, if you do nothing but practice with light weights, will literally crumble before your eyes as your nervous system encounters what is essentially a foreign task. Now moving on to bar speed. One thing that I've noticed over time is that sometimes my warm-up sets are actually very sloppy. Sometimes the bar moves so fast that I throw myself out of position altogether. Now, I have no intention of slowing things down because CAT, or compensatory acceleration training, is a real thing, and I don't want to train myself to become unexplosive. As well, I still always do my absolute best to maintain as perfect of positioning as I can, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way when the bar is moving really fast. You can almost lose control of your own power. However, when the bar gets heavy enough, things stop moving so fast. What I've noticed over the years is that during heavy lifts, because things move so slowly, you are able to feel things out over the course of the lift and find the optimal micro adjustments and positional tweaks that need to be made in order to break through sticking points and help you maintain the most efficient bar path and lift the most weight in the long run. And I should say, this takes a great deal of practice. Much like any other skill, you probably won't pick it up right away. It does require a highly developed sense of kinesthesia, that is, an awareness of what your body is doing in space simply by feel, and that takes time, practice, and repetition to truly hone, especially when you add in the variable of loading, which can induce a sense of panic in some people that makes them forget to focus on small details like this. In time, however, after enough exposure, these sorts of fears are assuaged, and the ability to work at full intensity but play at half speed, so to speak, becomes a massive boon to your ability to make minute intra-lift adjustments, master the positioning of your body, and ultimately continually improve the efficiency of your lifting technique as you get stronger. It is only the open-mindedness to understand that things won't always go perfectly, and as such, the willingness to adapt on the fly, to change what you are doing while you are doing it, that makes this a possibility. Oftentimes, your body is trying to show you the best way to lift the weight, how you can best and most efficiently complete this particular physical task. For whatever reason, when it comes to lifting weights, we all have collectively decided to ignore this feedback, this valuable feedback from the body. In this video, I am simply suggesting that it's probably better if we don't. So what do you guys think? Are light weights the best path to optimizing lifting technique in the long run? If you're experiencing a technical issue, a chronic form breakdown, is it more productive to lower the training weights until things are quote-unquote perfect? Or should we strive to use heavier weights that actually create minor breakdowns in form that we are then forced to encounter, learn from, and ultimately overcome? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you found this video helpful, please be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to my channel as well. You can also check out EnkiriEliteFitness.com for online coaching and training programs, and you can use code CONJUGATE20 to get 20% off the Enkiri Elite Conjugate Method. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it helps you to kind of think of lifting technique in a different sort of way and to take your training to the next level. Keep training hard, and I will catch you guys next time.